Hello there. My name is Dr. Joseph Budu, and today I would like us to discuss the concept of self-leadership. When I say self-leadership, you say lead thyself first. Lead thyself first. And that's what we want to discuss today, how to lead yourself first. So we'll be looking at how to master self-leadership for personal, professional, and spiritual goods. The objectives of this video is to inspire you and I to lead ourselves. So you lead yourself and I lead myself. And also to show you how each person can lead himself or herself. A story is told of a very important action that had to be taken. There was something that had to be done. And everybody was expecting that somebody would do it. Somebody also think that anybody can do it. And in the end, nobody did it. That important thing remained undone. If there is something important to be done, and nobody takes that initiative or the leadership to do it, it will remain undone. And this is one of the problems we have been facing as a society and even as a world. Yes, there are so many people solving problems in different areas. But ask yourself, why are there still problems persistent? Problems that would have been solved. The problem of hunger. Why are there people producing genetically modified foods instead of doing traditional farming so that everybody can get organic and good food to eat? Why are there people creating new diseases whilst we haven't finished solving the diseases that plague mankind already? So in my deliberations on this, I realized that, or I believe that, individuals who don't lead themselves tend to corrupt the whole society after corrupting themselves. And so I've taken it upon myself to encourage people to lead themselves into positive outcomes so that the whole society will also benefit. So what is self-leadership? Self-leadership is intentionally guiding your thoughts and emotions and behaviors to achieve personal and professional goals. But in this case, these professional and personal goals should also benefit the society. It shouldn't be something selfish. It should be something that will benefit the society at large. So unlike traditional leadership, which often involves leading other people, which sometimes leads to distraction, self-leadership begins with the individual sitting down and thinking through your actions and your emotions and your activities, whether it will benefit the society at large before taking any steps. And the core of self-leadership is taking ownership for one's life and recognizing that the primary driver of one's action, the decision, and your actions is your destiny. You take specific actions so that you will benefit from these actions. Your destiny will also be fulfilled. And in the end, your maker, your creator, God in heaven should also be glorified, even as society gets benefits from your actions. So it involves setting personal standards, cultivating discipline, developing the ability to motivate yourself, even when there are challenges that stare you in the face. So the key components of self-leadership are, first, self-awareness. In order to lead yourself, you should be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, and your motivations, and align them to higher values, higher motivations. It's not everything that comes to mind that has to be done. Certain, we have the right to do all things, but not everything is beneficial. So we have to align our goals and our objectives, values, and motivations to a higher purpose. The second component is self-motivation. Oftentimes, nobody will come and push you to go and do what you know you are supposed to do. So you can sit down for 10 years without taking a particular action, and you will be where you are. Some people have good friends who motivate them, but not everybody does. And you will be surprised how time flies by when you don't take any action, and you are the one to lose. The third component is self-management. After taking action, you have to manage yourself in terms of the actions you are taking. What emotions, you have to manage your emotions. You have to manage your time effectively. Otherwise, you will be overwhelmed. You will be angry at certain activities that you yourself are undertaking. You get angry. You could be overwhelmed with lack of time. And so you have to set priorities, manage stress, and maintain a focus amidst distractions that are so rampant in this world of fast everything. Self-regulation. In this component, you are thinking about how to control your impulses. There are so many ideas that come to our minds that we want to do, but they are impulsive. They are not well planned. They don't lead to our objectives. They don't help us to achieve our targets and objectives. Therefore, we have to learn to manage and to regulate ourselves, managing our emotions and maintaining discipline. The next component is decision-making and problem-solving. There are so many decisions we have to make in a day. What to eat, what to wear, what to drink. In addition to work-related decisions, how to solve a particular problem, how to manage our employees, how to manage our teams. So there are more important decisions and there are trivial decisions that we make. How do we juggle all this together? You have to know how to do this if you manage yourself very well. And the sixth component is resilience and adaptability. There are so many challenges that will be before you when you set up or set out to take any action. You'll face so many obstacles. How do you bounce back from any such obstacles and any such challenges in order to maintain your focus? So let's look at the rule of leading yourself. Who is supposed to lead himself or herself? It is you and I. As individuals, we have to take the responsibility to lead ourselves. Nobody can lead ourselves better than ourselves. We have to lead ourselves. And in leading ourselves, we can fall into one of these three categories. The first category includes people who bury their talent, they bury their potential and their abilities. We call them barriers. This is taken from a story, a parable in the Bible of a man who gave one person one talent, or let's say $100,000 to work. He gave another person $200,000 to work and gave the third person $500,000. The one who received $100,000 said it was not enough and went to bury it in the ground. The one who received $200,000 worked with it and doubled it to $400,000. The one who received the $500,000 worked with it and made $1 million. So the two who worked with their talents, we can refer to them as doublers. They didn't bury theirs. The one who received the $100,000 buried his. That's a burial. The other two who worked with theirs and doubled theirs are called doublers. I refer to them as doublers. And we have others who don't just double their talent or their potential or their outcomes. They expand it and make it global for more than the people themselves and even the people within their close circles to benefit. And there are so many examples that we can see. If bad things like COVID-19 disease was able to spread from one place across the whole globe, how much more should good things and good impact not spread across the world? So we should aim at being expanders by taking initiative to lead ourselves and letting that initiative and our good actions spread across the world for all to benefit. And we will look at how to become expanders in a later session. So barriers, once more, meet a situation which is not too good a situation. But by the time they leave that situation, the people there are crying even more. They meet a situation which is saddening and they leave the same situation in tears. Doublers attempt to improve the situation they go to meet. So you may not be sad anymore, but you will just have a smile or a rise in your face. But expanders meet a dire situation and turn it around into a smiling or a laughing or a happy situation. And this is where you and I want to be. And that is why we need to lead ourselves first. Where can we lead ourselves? We can lead ourselves in the home. Wherever we are in our families, various families, we can lead ourselves. We can identify issues and actions that we can take to improve the lot of our families. We can lead ourselves in school, where if we are students, we can identify situations in the school where we are and take actions that show or exercise self-leadership. If we are employees or workers in our various offices, we can also identify opportunities to turn the situation around through self-leadership. And finally, our community. If we lead ourselves first, we will be able to also turn our community around for the better. When should we start leading ourselves? The time to start leading ourselves is now. A wise man once said that plan for the next 10 years, but live life like the rapture is tomorrow or even now. We don't know when this world is going to end, but everything shows that the end is near. And the Lord Jesus Christ can show up in the sky at any moment in time. So that doesn't mean that we shouldn't live life. Continue living your life. Plan for activities that you can take over the next 10 years to make impact, to develop yourself, to grow yourself. However, live your life well so that when the Lord appears in the sky, you will be caught up with Him into glory. Why is self-leadership important? Why do we need to lead ourselves? The first reason is that the world needs self-leaders. We have enough leaders, but how many leaders are causing positive impact in their countries, even in their constituencies, their districts? Most African countries are complaining about corrupt leaders. Why are they corrupt? I believe they are being corrupt because they are not leading themselves well. If they are planning and thinking about their emotions, they are thinking about their activities and the consequences of their actions, they will take better decisions. So it begins from the self. It begins from that person deciding that I want to have these high values. I don't want to be corrupt. I don't want to do activities that will negatively impact on my citizens. So the world needs people who lead themselves first before they can come and lead others. The second reason why we need to lead ourselves is that self-leadership then prepares you to lead yourself, to lead others. After you have led yourself, you can now lead other people. They say that charity begins at home. If you cannot lead, the Bible also says that if someone wants to lead a church, the person should be able to lead himself, control himself, and control his home before he comes to lead the church. So self-leadership is very, very important. And the third reason is that leaders get rewarded. So if you are unable to lead yourself and you deteriorate and you are not able to achieve anything in life, you don't get any reward. You rather get punished. life tends to reward people who excel and punish people who do not excel, who go down rather. How then should we lead ourselves, or how can we lead ourselves? The framework for this answer is found in Matthew chapter 14, where Jesus fed 5,000 people. And if you read that story, you will see that, first of all, Jesus went to the place where the people were staying. The people who he fed, they were waiting for him across or in a certain place. And that is where Jesus went. So the first step is to identify areas of your life or areas around you that you can lead, you can take the initiative to lead. So Jesus went to the people who needed a certain kind of help. The second step is to be compassionate to the people who are suffering from that situation. You may realize that situation that you want to take action to solve, other people are suffering from it. In the case of the story I'm referring to, there are people who were hungry, there were people who were sick, and Jesus healed them, just took them out of their challenges. When he finished healing them, his disciples came to him to tell him to let the people go and find food because they were hungry and they had spent a long time waiting over there. This was a need that they identified about the people: hunger and maybe tiredness. Jesus told them that, they themselves should look for food for the people. He told the disciples to take personal responsibility to look for food to feed the people who were waiting over there. So we have to take personal responsibility, and this is where self-leadership begins. We have to take responsibility for our lives instead of blaming people. I wish this person did this for me. I thought I was expecting this person to do A for me, and the person didn't do so. You sit down and relax. You have to take personal responsibility for our lives. The next step is to identify available resources. If you are going to take responsibility for your life, there are certain things you may need to work it out. You need to identify the resources that you have. You may not have money, but you may have talent. You may not have talent, but you may have money. You may have time. You may have the energy or the strength. Okay, so do an assessment of the resources you have available so that based on these resources, you can take the next step, which is plan the potential action. What can you do? What are the series of steps that you can take in order to achieve the goal you have set out to achieve? And these actions includes planning or even setting your goals. What goals would you like to achieve in the next 10 years? Based on those goals, you take specific actions that you would like to achieve. The next step is to seek divine intervention. Jesus asked, so in identifying resources, Jesus asked the disciples, what do we have? And the disciples told him that we have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. That was the resource available. The step he took was to seek divine intervention. He prayed and blessed the bread and the fish. And the next action was that he told the disciples to start sharing the bread and the fish. Okay. So he took the action. The next step is to monitor and evaluate. As you are taking the action, you should be checking to see if you are achieving the objectives that you set out. Are you achieving the goals and the outcome that you meant to achieve? If not, you go back and you make adjustments. If you are achieving those results, that is fantastic. So you move to the next step. You rinse and repeat. You keep on doing those activities and those steps until you keep on increasing the outcomes and the objectives that you are achieving. So, in summary, how to achieve or how to lead yourself first is by seeking problem spaces. Be compassionate to the people who may be suffering in that problem space. Listen to the needs of the world in which you are to identify opportunities that you can exercise leadership. Take personal responsibility for those activities and for those spaces and for those challenges. Identify resources that you can use to begin solving the problem. Plan the potential actions that you can take to solve the problem or to lead yourself to solve that problem. Then seek intervention from the Lord Almighty to give you ideas, to give you wisdom. And as you are taking these steps, you monitor and evaluate to see if you are making the necessary impact. As long as you are making impact, you keep on doing, rinse and repeat. Let me give you a case study of something I did recently to begin exercising self-leadership. I was given a course to teach in my school. I am a lecturer in a university, and I was given a course to teach. While I was teaching the course, the students were complaining that they are not getting the help or the guidance that they need to be able to maximize their learning potential. And about 12 of them, they started threatening to abandon the program. And I didn't want that to be a scandal on my head, because I would also have taught them, and it would be as if I haven't taken any action concerning that particular problem. So the students wanted specific guidance in terms of how to do their research. And I was teaching them a course on qualitative research methods. So I decided to guide them to do the research. I told them that I will volunteer to be giving them that guidance so that they do not depart the program. This was not something that should have been my responsibility on the natural or on the normal scale of things. This is not my problem. I go and teach and I leave. But I realized that these people needed this help, which the immediate structure couldn't offer at the moment. So I told them I will volunteer to grant or to give them that guidance so that they can finish their program successfully. And still, others threatened to leave the program. So one day, one dawn, around 4:15 a.m., I was online sharing Bible verses for my followers to read the Bible verses for the day. And one of the students sent me this message or started chatting with me. The student said, "Good morning, Doc. Just noticed you are also online. I'm working on your paper." I had given them an assignment and she said she was working on it. And I said, "I'm online because I was waiting for you." Laugh out loud. And she laughed. And she said she's working on some articles. And I said, "I see, good and serious students." And I asked her directly, "I hear you want to leave." And I said, "She shouldn't leave." She said, "It seems majority wants to move on. I heard some of them have even concluded on their schools. Some have gone to look for schools and they want to leave the program to go and do it elsewhere." And I asked, "What's the reason? Did I do something wrong?" And she said, "You are superb. I don't think any of us thinks otherwise. We all use you as our reference because you really gave us hope." Then she said that we were advocating that we needed a bit of hand-holding. For example, introducing us to some supervisors or advisors who will help us navigate our way through the course. The school felt we wanted to be spoon-fed, and they started making fun of us. This is the part that hit me. And I said, "So if I volunteer, will you stay?" And she said, "Sure, I will, Doc." And I said, "Please tell all who want to leave that I'm volunteering to hold your hands." And she said, "Really?" I said, "Yep. And she said, I would take your advice though. I couldn't really sleep thinking all through this stuff. So I decided to rather work on your paper, and then God answered my prayer through you. And I said, tough times never last, but tough people do. I'm quoting a book by Robert Schuller. And I said, you are tough. You've done tougher things than a doctoral program. And she said, many times though, I am really encouraged. After this, she has decided to stay. I have solved a problem. I would have said, this is not my problem. I took that initiative, considered my emotion that this is not my problem. That was what I was feeling. I said, no, there's a higher good to be achieved here, other than just my emotion and what I am feeling. I considered my time, I considered the input I'll be making into all this, and I said, let me volunteer. Okay. And this is where we are now. So, in a nutshell, we have seen what self-leadership entails. Taking action based on your values, regulating your emotions in order to achieve a goal that you have set out to achieve. No pressure from anyone. Nobody coming to check you whether you are doing A or doing B. You yourself deciding that I want to do this and I want to achieve this objective. So, are you ready to lead yourself? Are you motivated to lead yourself? I hope you have learned something and you are motivated and you are ready to take leadership of yourself. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at that time.